Okay, we're live on YouTube and then we're gonna go broadcast.
Si Diego Dario daw magpa-participate daw.
Okay.
We're waiting for him.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon to our coaches, and we're so happy again that you joined us. And this afternoon, we usapang UP Maroons naman tayo, fighting Maroons naman tayo. And of course, we're so happy and glad that we're joined by the head coach and the first assistant coach of the UP fighting Maroons. But to introduce them, of course, we have broadcaster Rick Olivares joining us. Of course, he's the host of this afternoon, and Joey Guillermo of Phil Oil Flying V is also with us. Rick, I'll turn over to you.
Thank you, Coach Ariel. Magandang hapon to all the participants and the attendees of this Phil Oil Flying V Sports Blackwater Elite. In the spotlight, we have our friend over from the other side of Katipunan, veteran PBA college coaches. And they are, for all that they've accomplished, in my honest opinion, they are underrated coaches. And that's why we wanted to do this, kami ni Joey Guillermo, because we feel that these men have a lot to share. From the UP Fighting Maroons, head coach Bo Perasol and first assistant Ricky Dandan. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Rick, Joey, Coach Ariel. Napakaraming salamat para sa inyo, no?
Coach Ricky, kumusta kayo, Coach Ricky?
Good afternoon, Coach Ariel, Joey, and Rick, Coach Bob.
All right. Coach Bo, Coach Ricky, how's it going during this lockdown for you guys? Your team, alam natin, di ba, may lockdown, may social distancing and all that. May mga assignment ba ang inyong mga players sa Fighting Maroons? Both of you can answer.
Una, siyempre lahat tayo nagkakaroon ng mga kanya-kanyang paraan, no, kung paano magkaroon ng parang unang pagkakataon para maging kondisyon sila at least man lang, no. But in my opinion, alam mo, napakahirap talaga para sa mga players natin, even if we're going to give them individual programs. We talk to them na it's better for us to have a leeway na magkaroon tayo ng parang advantage at this time, no, because everybody else has the same mindset also, no. So nasa mga players talaga, hindi lang pagkukulang syempre ng mga coaches katulad namin ni Coach Ricky at aming strength and conditioning coach. Paalalahanan lang sila at bigyan sila syempre ng mga sapat na programa.
Coach Ricky, are you in touch with your players?
Yeah, in fact, we meet with them almost every week. We have Zoom sessions with them. Katulad sinabi ni Coach Bo, yung aming trainer, he crafted a program for them to execute while they're in their homes. Some of our players are based in the US. A player is in Australia. Most of them are scattered here in Manila and the provinces, and we get to talk to them once a week via Zoom.
Coach Bo, are you mindful of their whereabouts? Do you check for them? Do you check on them na parang, kasi nakakatakot, lockdown eh. Dapat safe sila, hindi dapat sila gumagala or whatever. Do you check on them, Coach?
The good thing about our situation is before the enhanced lockdown dun sa Metro Manila, most of them were able to get home. The only person who's in the dormitory right now is Malik Diof. So siya naiiwan doon, and well, most of our players, in fact, all of them except Malik, is in the dorm. So nasa kanilang bahay. So bahala na yung mga magulang nila sa kanila.
Coach, nakakalungkot naman para kay Malik.
Wala rin naman siyang pupuntahan eh. So nandun siya. Binibisita rin siya ng mga management staff namin. So at saka every week meron kaming Zoom session.
You know, I know it's too early to tell, no? But we don't know what's up with next season. We've heard talk about hindi magkaka-sports kung walang form of testing or vaccines are available. That's, you know, I know that's still a long ways from now, no? But Coach, are you thinking about things or about next season? Right now, si Sir Joey dapat nag-start na yung preseason natin pero naudlot, di ba? So what does this mean for you guys? Usually yung UP bumabiyahe din for training. So ano nasa mindset nyo ngayon, Coach?
Well, sa akin, before Coach Ricky answers his own, katulad ng sabi mo, lahat ng off-season plans namin went into waste. We're supposed to go to New Zealand, Australia, Taipei. Napakarami namin plano. All of those were already funded. Pero wala tayong magagawa eh. No? But in terms of our mindset going into the next season, for us, as I mentioned to our team, ang importante lang ngayon is just to survive, not get sick. Ang importante lang is we know, sabi mo nga, we know the whereabouts of each other, nasaan ba yung nasa kanilang bahay ba sila. And then when school starts, let's just make sure that everyone enrolls. Yun lang muna kasi lahat naman pantay-pantay. Wala naman, palagay ko, wala namang, unless merong mga gym yan sa bahay yung mga players, magkakaroon sila mga skills training. But at this point, I really think that all things are equal right now.
Coach Ricky, your thoughts?
Yeah, but we're not really used to this kind of heat because most of the time when it's hot here, we're already out of the country. But yeah, we are prepared. We already have made some groundwork for the team to go to Auckland and train with coaches there. But you know, I think all of us are in the same boat. It's not just us. The situation is not unique to us. Lahat naman ng teams, even the PB, are in the same boat right now.
Okay, I want to ask. We're gonna backtrack a little bit, and before we talk about the current team, we just like to emphasize to our attendees, and right now, dumadami. So far, we have 20 plus. Dadami pa yan. What was it like for the two of you to play in the UAAP? In my honest opinion, I never got to see Coach Ricky play. I'm sorry, but I saw Coach Bo play, and I thought it was
Hindi mo na inaabot yun.
well, to be honest, kasi nung time na yun, ang pinapanood ko sila Coach Chot, sila Al Pandilio, nung nasa Ateneo, sila Jolas. I did catch a few UP games, but I didn't really know Coach Ricky. But about Coach Bo, when I saw him, for me, he was UP's version of Sandy Respacochaga. That energizer bunny for UP. But I'm getting...
Wala rin pukol.
Wala rin tira.
Kayo nagsabi dyan, ha?
Sorry, Sad.
Hindi ako kasama sa nagsabi nun, ha?
But seriously, Coach Bo, Coach Sandy were players for me who did everything they could to win that game, whatever it took. No, that's why they were some of my favorite players. But nevertheless, the question is, for you, what was it like playing for the UAP, and then now you're coaching in the UAP?
For me, napakalaki talaga ng diferensya. No? During my time, the late 80s and going to the early 90s, una, tatlong bagay nakikita kong diferensya. Number one, yung commercial support. No? When I say commercial support, yung funding and all. Katulad niya, nagtatawanan kami ni Coach Ricky when we remember. No? Ang pinakamalayo lang napupuntahan talaga ng UP at that time was kung hindi kami aabot ng Baguio, pupunta kami ng UP Los Baños. No? Yun lang ang pinaka out of town na namin. No? So in terms of, kasi una-una wala naman talaga kaming direct funding from the school. No, in fact, pinagtatawanan namin yung 40 pesos namin na per game na allowance. So mamaya sasabihin ni Coach Ricky mas mababa pa yung kanila diyan. No? Secondly, ito yung tinatawag ko na yung environment of competitiveness na katulad ng binibigay ni Joey ngayon, no, ng Phil Oil. Ibig sabihin napakarami talaga ng mga yung mga pagkakataon, no, exposure para sa mga bata, no. So just a few months ago, every week naglalaro kami either sa Ateneo, kung saan every week merong games, no. During my time wala eh. No, after the season, maaral na kaagad, maswerte na kung makakalaro kami siguro ng isa. And then ang ladder lang noon is after UAP was the PABL, no, at that time, and then diretso na sa PBA. So yung pinakamagagaling lang talaga, and that pag nasa what do you call this, nasa edge ka lang ang skill level mo, medyo hindi ka nalalayo talaga. The good thing for that was we're able to finish school. Wala ka namang ibang choice kundi mag-aral na talaga. And then lastly, yung community support. No? Ibig sabihin, there are really fanatics right now. Before, makikita mo, Lasal, Ateneo, yun lang yung may mga alumni talaga na very rabid in their support for their team. Pero ngayon, marami na. You see UST, Adamson, UP, lahat-lahat, everybody else, UE, na meron talagang ground support from their alumni. So, yan yung big differences na nakikita ko, Rick.
Coach Ricky, nako, ito maganda.
Yeah, actually, the biggest difference only happened about 6-7 years ago. Because from my time until that time, the community wasn't as involved as it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, especially going into the past 2 years when we made the finals 2 years ago. In terms of recruitment, you'd see more walk-ons than recruits. But I remember Coach Joe very hardworking. He was able to recruit guys like Eric Altamirano, Ronnie Magsano, Joey Mendoza, Don Di Roque, Dwayne Salvatierra, and of course that very prominent recruiting class of Benji Paras, Joey Guanyo, and Jig Mendoza. That was the year that UP won it all finally in '86.
Coach, what made you decide to get into coaching? Did Coach Jody pa tell you to, Coach Ricky, baka gusto mong pasukan to, gusto mong subukan? And how long were you under Coach Joe's tutelage?
I don't know how it really started, but after playing, I became a volunteer assistant coach with Coach Joe. I would in '86, I would attend the practices of the '86 team. He'd see me there, siguro nakukulitan sa akin. So kinausap niya ako. You're spending a lot of time here. Are you thinking about going to coaching? I said, I think so. The very first thing he told me, okay, if you want to get into coaching, you have to know this. Players win games, coaches lose them. If you can't handle that, do not go into coaching. Are you willing to handle that? I didn't care for that question. So I said, wala yan, baliwala sa akin. So that started me off as a volunteer assistant coach for the '86 team, the year after my last playing year.
Coach Ricky and Coach Bo, you were under Real Madrid, tama ba?
Right. All my playing years. Yeah.
Do you, at this point in your coaching career, even for you, Coach Ricky, do you catch yourself at times saying something to the team that, teka, sinabi ni Coach Joe yun, or you, Coach Bo, sinabi ni Coach Ray yun, or even any of your coaches, do you catch yourself in that moment?
Si Coach Ricky marami.
Aside from cussing.
Yeah, Coach?
maybe when I was younger, pero nowadays, mostly, minsan naiisip ko rin, but a lot of times, Coach Joe is a completely different animal.
Okay. I want to go, Coach Bo, I want to go a little back itong kay Coach Vicky, no? Because when I first saw him, he was coaching in Lasal Bacolod with John Flores. And tama ba, Coach? You led that team to a championship, dun, at least din sa lugar niyo. Tama ba? What was going, sino mga players niyo na siguro umangat dito sa Manila kung meron man?
I remember bringing with me Alrich Jareño when I coached in the NBA. But one of my players then played in the PBA, si Fritchie Ang, he played in Pure Foods.
That's right.
And he played for Coach Ariel also, sa Metro Stars.
That's right. Sa Metro Stars. That's right. Pero what was it like coaching Bacolod, Coach Ricky?
It was actually by accident. My good friend, Coach Rico Perez, was the coach of the juniors team there. And he was here in Manila for a vacation. I think it was December. We got together. And he mentioned to me that there's going to probably be an opening for the men's basketball team. And during that time, back in '89, I really wanted to be a head coach already, but did not have much experience. So I did not have, my resume was very thin. So most of my job offerings there was for an assistant coaching. I was an assistant to Coach Joe in the PABL, and I was offered to be an assistant with UE with the late great Ruel Nadorata, but I didn't want to be an assistant there because I also was an assistant with Mon Bernabe in UP, and Ray Madrid coming in. I think I was going to be an assistant to him also. I remember Bo. That's the first time I met Bo. And then I told Rico, sige, let's try it. So we went to Brother Rolly Dizon, the president of Lasal Bacolod. We talked. He told me to try it out. He gave me a ticket to go to Bacolod, try it out first. We talked some more there, and I agreed to a 6-month contract. And we won a championship after that. And I agreed to an extension, and the rest is history. I stayed there for 8 years.
Wow. All right. So we'll jump on to today, to the UP Fighting Maroons. Coach Bo, when you made the UAP finals a couple of years ago, was it tough facing your old team? And number two, what you said to your team following the final game, you pulled them together and you have nothing to be ashamed of. Taas no kayo, no one expected you to be here. What did you tell your team following this season? Lalo na you won your way into the Final Four, and you're building up a really very, very good team that could win it all. No? So one, what was it like to play against your former team? And number two, what did you tell your team after this season? Yung nakaraan, yung nakakatapos lang na season.
Well, the idea of facing a very formidable opponent in Ateneo was not just an idea na sa akin lang. No? Everybody sees that. No? Everybody is aware how well organized Ateneo is, how they're able to keep on year in and year out, no, sa kanilang programa, and then here comes UP na first time in 3 decades lang pumasok sa finals, no. So in hindsight, ang nasa isip ko noon was we were ngayon ko lang na realize na I think we were really
wala.
Wala. Technical difficulties lang. Coach Bo?
To go to finals at that, no. Mindset, kami parang gate crasher at that particular time, no. So when we were able to get into the finals, hanggang ngayon hindi ko pa si Coach Ricky lang nagkukwento nito sa akin, no, kasi hindi ko pa nabalikan talaga pinanood ito, no. Sabi niya that game 1 Game one, we were really there. Game two, that was a blowout. But after that, alam na namin. No? Alam ko na where we're going to be heading, and then that's why ang lagi kong sinasabi sa kanila, we're not in for just a for a sprint. No, ibig sabihin hindi lang kami na one game at a time. We're in for a marathon. Na sinasabi ko na we're looking for that championship. No, hindi lang Final Four, hindi lang ito para mapunta sa finals. Kung hindi, gusto namin pumunta talaga sa championship. But in the end, we fell short again. No, we fell short, and as coaches, we knew what went wrong. But what we can do right now is just to get better this coming season.
Coach Ricky, nung last UAP season, during the summer, you only had Richie Rivero. No Kobe Paras, no Juan Gomez Solano. And then right into the season, dun lang naging kompleto yung team. Was that crucial period before the UAP damaging to UP, considering chemistry wasn't there? That's my observation. I could be wrong, Coach.
Yeah. Tama. It was very challenging for us because in the onset, we couldn't practice with the complete lineup since February of that season. And then you also have to understand, during the season itself, we only had the complete lineup after a third game. Kobe wasn't able to play at the start of the season.
Right.
It was a challenge for us, but no excuses. We knew right away what our situation was, and Coach Boy and the rest of the coaching staff and management knew what was in front of us, and we coached through that. And I must say, even if we, again, this is not to make excuses, since nagkukwentuhan lang tayo, we were never 100% the whole season. But we had a lot of injuries. Bright wasn't 100% the whole season. Juan wasn't 100%. Kobe wasn't 100%. But to their credit, they played through that, and we almost made it. Of course, almost is not enough. Losing to the game 2 to UST, but we were a win away from getting back to the finals, regardless of our injuries and what have you during that season.
Nevertheless, we've been fighting Maroons. They've been looking good these past couple of years. We know the upcoming season. We don't know when it will start. But how is your team shaping up to be? Are we going to see any new faces? Coach Bo, Coach Ricky? Si Malik, magre-residency pa si Malik, no, Coach?
Right. He is in residency right now. No, he's going to be spending one school year with us for him to be able to be eligible to play. And we have our own batch of recruits also. I really think that with the roster that we have, if it's going to be complete, that we're still going to be. We have a team that's going to be in contention. I think that we have planned well for this. The coaching staff, the management, as well as our supporters, our support group, and we were able to plan this ahead. And yes, we will be ready whenever the season is going to start.
Coach Ricky, your thoughts?
It's a bit frustrating, of course, not just for me or for us here, but for everyone, because we were already beginning to show some signs of cohesion when we were starting our program for this season, and then this pandemic happened. But you really can't do much about it, but look forward and look positive to it. And the moment there's a semblance of, if the government allows even 3-4 players at a time with 2 coaches, we're going to grab that situation and start preparing for the new season whenever it comes.
Coach Bo, what's it like coaching a Kiefer Avena and now a Kobe Paras? Yung mga off-the-wall talent.
Well, nanggaling din ako sa PBA, no, where talent is common, no. Before handling Ateneo and Kiefer, I was able to handle Marshall, Lassiter, Gary, and
Easy.
marami sa kanila, no. But my own personal tack with that is sometimes ako kasi ang philosophy ko sa coaching is minsan naiisip ko mas may alam pa sila sa akin, no. That's why I make sure that when you think you know better, umiskarte ka na, no. I just make sure that you're doing it in a system that everybody understands. Kasi hindi mo maituturo yung talent, and katulad na, let's say for example ni Kiefer, katulad nila Kobe, nila Richie. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa kanila na don't wag mong gawin ito, wag mong gawin yan, because yung skill level nila masyadong mataas, tsaka yung understanding nila sa game mataas. You just have to guide them and make sure that ginagawa nila yung understanding ng team, no. If you do that, everybody understands that you're going to do that, and then you have to make your own sacrifices also, no. So generally when I coach talents like those, mas binibigyan ko ng freedom, to shine, o mag-isip sila para sa sarili nila.
Okay, before we take some questions, we want to say hi to some of the coaches who are with us in this webinar. Coach Benji Sipin, good afternoon. We have Coach Manu. Okay, nandito. Coach Mark Dandan is with us also. Sino pa ba? Yung colleague ko sa media, si Norman Riego, nandyan din. So we're going to check out the questions.
There's a question now. Coaches, what are the advantages of sports science in developing and conditioning your team against the traditional system? It's from John Molina.
Well, for me, no, kasi nanggaling ako sa era na pausbong pa lang yung sports science, no. Our strength and conditioning coach at the time was Dean Hercalianta, no. Siya yung nag-uumpisa pa lang ng scientific approach ng strength and conditioning and everything else, no. Napakalaking advantage talaga ng sports science because the mere mention of the word science, mas studied yung ginagawa ninyo, no. Merong logic, merong dahilan kung bakit ginagawa yung kind of training na ganito. Yung tinatawag nilang periodization, ginagawa ng mga nag-iisip, no. While sa traditional, tumakbo ka, magpa-condition ka for as long as magkakaroon ka ng hangin, mas okay na yan, no. I mean, I have nothing against the traditional way, but for me right now, you just have to justify to players why you're doing these things, no. Kasi ang mga players ngayon naisip na rin, no? Coach, bakit mo pinapagawa ito, no? Hindi lang tumatakbo ng 17s, hindi lang ito gumagawa ng weight training na basta-basta, but I encourage my strength and conditioning coaches to explain to them and make sure they understand how these kinds of training are going to help them in the long run.
Right. We have from Mario Gotera. He's asking Coach Ricky, how do you handle the pressure from fans, alumni, parents, management, etc.?
Coach Ricky, mauna ka.
Full court pressure yata, Coach.
It only becomes pressure if you allow it to be. Actually, all of that is opportunity. And through the years, I've personally, I've gotten used to that already. I've learned to clear my mind off that. I've learned to center myself, and most of all, I've learned not to listen to those who are whose opinion are inconsequential. But pressure is always there. There was a time, when I was this was 8 years ago when I was coaching UP. I was the head coach of UP. There was no pressure for us to win, but we still felt pressure because you didn't want to put down your families, the community. What more now that we are expected to win? But like I said, it's only pressure if you allow it to be, because it's always opportunity.
Coach Bo?
Yeah, I agree with Coach Ricky. The only pressure that's going to get through you are those which you are going to allow. Again, I mentioned a lot of times that I really don't entertain social media, and I don't have one. So wala akong masyadong naririnig na negatibo, because yung mga critics naman ang una mong mga critics dapat yung mga pinakamalapit sa iyo, ay mga coaches mo, bakit ba natin nagagawa ito, but for those people na hindi mo naman talaga kakampi in the beginning, why would you listen to them, again, and alam mo naman yan, Rick, nanggaling din naman ako sa programa ng Ateneo, and I was hoping that sabi ko mag-iiba na itong UP, when I got to UP, sabi ko ibang na to, walang ka-pressure, abay mas mahigit pa pala, mas tumindi pa nung nanalo na, nung nanalo na, nakatikim na ng panalo, but that's life, when pressure is present, ibig sabihin there should be something that is greater beyond that, that you should be able to accomplish.
Coach, before we take the questions dito from Lay Castro, before we hear his question, total, you touched on Powerade kanina. Do you feel at times your UP team now reminds you of your Powerade team? You're up against, when you took Powerade to the finals, you were up against a dynasty in talk and text, a very well-oiled machine. Do you see similarities? And Coach, I'm just wondering. Coach Mo?
Well, in a way, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, when we went into the championship with Talk and Text, when we're coaching Powerade, parang feeling ko gate crasher pa rin kami. Parang walang intention in the beginning. Walang intention. Parang the intention was to build the program, make sure that we have enough players to get on with the next seasons. Paano lang ang plano, but we were number 8 at that time. We were able to beat the number 1 team, and then during the semifinals, we went to the I think that was game 7 ata, ano man yun, but we were able to get to the finals against a very strong and dynasty ng yung panahon na yun, yung Talk and Text team ni Coach Chot. So yes, the similarity is meron kami mga talented players, hungry players na who are raring to really win. But naalala ko pa yung sinabi ni Coach Chot, sabi niya paramihan daw ng sinabi ni Coach Chot, parang paramihan ng kabayo ang laban, So sabi ang sa loob ko, alam niya na mas marami siyang kabayo talaga at that time, And then the sad story with that is after a season or two, na dismantle na rin yung Coke franchise at that time.
All right. May katanungan dito si Lay Castro. Coach Bo, is there an effect in terms of the commercial support with the passing of John Gokongwei Jr.? Apektado ba, Coach?
Well, ang pinaka ang pinaka lead person talaga who's really into connected with UP is si Madam Robina Gokongwei Pe, no? Siya yung alumna ng UP, and there was in fact ang nakukwento niya nga sa amin is talagang she has to justify itong funding with UP with the board, no? Dad niya, sa mga kapatid niya. Pero kasi siya lang ang from UP, but she really loves UP, she loves the team. She saw it from when we started from nothing, from zero, and from when we were able to get into the finals. Kaya alam niya yung pinaghirapan niya. And also, to answer the question, hindi na apektuhan yun with the passing of Mr. John. No.
That's good to know. Coach Ricky, may katanungan dito. How do you view the rise of analytics? Is it something you use over with the fighting? Is it something you use with the Fighting Maroons?
Yes, of course. That really helps the coaching staff in terms of making decisions, and the players as well in terms of making emphasis on how they can get better. We do have our team of analytics. Even during our time when Boy and I were in Ateneo, we were slowly building our analytics team, and I think it's common fare already nowadays.
Right. Oh, may isa pang katanungan dito. Coach Jolie pa put UP on the map with the championship. And the two of you, Coach Bo and Coach Rick, you're familiar with the Lipa system. What would work well in Coach Joe's system today? And what would not work in pro and college ball? Coach Ricky, kayo muna.
I don't think you can compare it. If you're asking for my experience playing for Coach Joe, but there's one thing that we had back then that Coach Boy and I are trying to emphasize and trying to get from the players, and that's playing together. You know, I must say this, the experience of playing for Coach Joe, because this is related. During my time, a lot of people thought that Coach Joe was a strict disciplinarian. No, he was not the strict disciplinarian that you thought. They all thought that we followed Coach Joe with blind loyalty. That's not true. Only my teammates and the other members of the coaching staff know that. What during that time, the personality of Coach Joe reflected on the way we played. Coach Joe was brash. He was very aggressive, and that was the way we played back then. But like I said, that was a long time ago. I'd like to say that kids are a bit different now. Their motivations are the same as well as my motivations when I was a young kid. But then there are certain factors here. There are a lot of how would you call that, distractions that are present now that are not present, that weren't present during my time. But one common thing that we had back then, and that we continue to build, Coach Bo and the rest of coaching staff continue to build, is that brashness that we need to get us over the hump, make the finals again, and win it all.
Coach Ricky, before we hear from Coach Bo, no? Watching Coach Joe during the 80s, he was espousing the Korean style of basketball. Motion, pasa-pasa with a lot of outside shots. During your time playing for UP, ganun na ba? O later niya lang na-institute yung Korean style na yun?
No, it wasn't that way. It wasn't that way at all. I remember when Coach Joe was sponsored by his fraternity brothers and went to Bobby Knight in Indiana. The moment he came back, the first thing he told was God damn it, I'm going to teach you play motion offense. And that was the way we played. He had all of these terminologies, and even on the defensive, Coach Joe is a defensive coach. That's that's the aspect of the game that he really excels in. And we had all of these terminologies, all these schemes, and we actually became better because of the things that Coach Joe learned. And Coach Joe also became a better coach because of that experience.
So yung Korean style later on na yun.
Yes, much later on na talaga yun.
Na yata, ano, Coach?
If I remember, we were in Ateneo in '98. That was the time. We already talked about that a lot of times in the past. But from commissioner of the UAP, he was commissioned the UAP, and then he was hired to coach Ateneo. He brought me in, and we discussed that several times continually. That he was saying, this is the way Filipinos should play. This was 1998. This is the way Filipinos should play, so on and so forth. And he was able to get the sponsor and send the whole team to Korea for 2 weeks. We stayed in Yonsei University. We watched them practice, and we tried to assimilate that. But you know, we almost played that way because there's a cultural barrier that you have to break through, and it will not take a year or 2 years for you to be able to assimilate that.
Coach Bo, did you ever work with Coach Joe?
Oh, well, fast forward into that, what Coach Ricky was saying about that Korean philosophy, you know. Before I took in the Ateneo job, I had a talk with him. Sinasabi ko sa kanya, Coach, what do you think? No, ano bang pwede mong maituro sa akin? No, and then he emphasized to me that philosophy, no, yung pagka-rebound pa lang, wala nang dribble, ipasa mo na kaagad, no? And he was so passionate discussing that with me. I remember vividly, we were in the lounge of Shangri-La in Makati, and he was shouting at me, "Pong anangala, hindi pwede yan. Ito ang kailangan gawin." You know? And people were looking at us. They thought that we were quarreling or something. No? But that was how passionate he was with the philosophy that he had. No? That was the offensive side of it. So, and it was part of this program, no? When we get to practice where he lives in I think that was in Paranaque. We invite him to talk to the players, not so much on the technical aspect of it, but the big picture of what should be done as players, what to expect, and everything else. So yes, napalakating bagay ni Coach Joe personally to me, and I'm sure to Coach Ricky as well.
Thank you. We have another question here. This is in terms of the recruiting policy for UC. Do you recruit for talent or who will fit the system that you're running, Coach?
Well, ako talagang best talent available, kasi parang drafting din yan sa PBA. Pag sino, kung yan ang best available na point guard, kahit may point guard ka pa, kukunin mo na yan. More so sa college kasi you have 5 playing years, and you know that at some point this particular guy is going to graduate at meron ka ng magaling na nakasunod, no? So for me, no brainer, laging nasa best available talent.
Coach Ricky, your thoughts about that, Coach?
Both. Looking for talent and of course how he will fit into the system. Pero pag talagang super blue chip yan, you're going to have to force him to fit into your system.
Obviously, the landscape for recruiting has really changed. Dati, you try to get the best in Metro Manila, the best in the provinces, but as we all know, in collegiate sports now, you even go beyond our borders. Gano'ng kahirap yan? It's like an arms race. It's like a nuclear arms race. You really need some funding to be able to do this. What's your take on recruiting today, Coach Bo and Coach Ricky? Is it out of hand?
I'll be going out of a limb by saying this, but yes, it's really going out of hand. You know, I'm part of that. I'm part of that also. No, pero sa akin kasi, no, looking forward, dapat hindi lang yung mga well-funded teams ang magkaroon ng pagkakataon to recruit, no, para magkaroon talaga ng balance at saka magandang competition, UAP or NCAA or whatsoever, kasi hindi rin well, it's also a reflection of how the pro league is doing right now, no? Kung sino yung may pera, sila rin ang nagkakaroon ng mas more on talent. That's a reality, but if uh, one way or the other, the people that has a hand in managing all of this could see na we could find a way how we could strike a balance. Ano, ang importante magkaroon lang sana ng balance na everybody could be able to compete in terms of recruitment, in terms of playing. I think that basketball is going to be better in our country.
Coach Ricky, having coached in the pros and also in college, your thoughts about recruiting today? Any insights, any good stories, that you can tell, Coach Ricky?
Yeah, I believe a coach has to do his job, and part of his job is going after the best player available for his team. If you don't do that, I don't think you're doing your job, and you're doing an injustice to your team and to your community. I'll give you an example. When I was coaching UP, we had not much support. I came after Jeron Teng. Friends of mine were laughing at me because they knew, hey, why are you going after Teng? Why not? I'm doing my job. Of course, it was a shot to the moon if I were able to land him, but I still tried to because I was doing my job, and like I said, if you don't pursue that, then you are not doing your job as a coach.
Alam, susunod ko yung sagot niyo, Coach Ricky. Coach Bo, with the UP program, really nakikita natin, paangat. Has it changed for UP? Are we seeing people call and say, I have a player here? May mga lumalapit na ba sa inyo na hindi kailangan i-recruit? Marami na ba nagre-reto ng mga players sa inyo? Has the situation changed for UP, Coach? Has it become a desirable destination among high school or even transferees?
Yeah, that's one of the major changes that our program is enjoying right now. No? As you said, ang term dyan is we became a destination for players who years before that wouldn't even think about going into UP. No, ngayon a lot of them are saying, Coach, itong star player ng ganitong team would like to be part of our program. In fact, marami sa kanilang hindi na namin na entertain because we have our own list, we have our own roster na pinopursue din ng mga players, no. But yes, that's one of the advantages that we had in the as a result of the as you will say success that we had in the past few years, na nagiging hindi ka na last option, no, nagiging first option ka na ngayon ng mga players from other teams.
We have a question from Ghana. We have a participant from Ghana, si Shine. Shine asks, Coach, what actually has worked for you now as a coach? It's kind of a vague question. What has worked for you? So I guess he's asking kung ano yung mga strategies nyo that work for you, UP, or maybe something that you brought from the pros to UP.
Well, as a head coach, it comes from your personal philosophy also, na what works with me all this time na naging coach ako is laging may philosophy of touching the heart first before you touch the hands, no. Ibig sabihin not all coaches are going to agree with me, but I make sure first that I'm able to connect with my players before I connect with their minds, I connect with their hearts. I make sure that they understand that I'm for their good. Wala akong ibang intention but to find a way how to make them better and give them a good shot in the future, whatever the intentions are.
Right. We have a question from Mark Jason Mendoza. He's asking, Coach, is it difficult? Is it frustrating coming up short in the PBA and then in the UAP? How do you handle that frustration? Does it motivate you for the next campaign?
Well, there are times when I think about those things. No, I fell short twice in the championship in the PBA when I was with Air 21 against Ginebra. It was Game 7. Then Powerade against Talk and Text. That was I think it was 4-1, and now with UP, against Ateneo. Yeah. I was asking myself when is that time going to happen? But katulad nitong the thing that this pandemic gives us is the time to think. Ano ba yung importante sa buhay? Importante syempre na magkaroon ka ng chance manalo, and just in case hindi, the next important thing is to keep on going. Hindi naman natatapos diyan, and that's how we make sure our players understand that we're not going to stop, and I'm a student of that. Okay, that we need to pursue our dreams, we need to keep on going. Okay.
Before we hear the next question, I actually want to apologize to you, Coach Bo. Your last game in Ateneo when we were eliminated by FEU, I remember almost all your players already went to the dugout. The only one who was left on the floor was Von Pesumal. And Von was waving to the crowd and saying thank you, but you waited for him. You waited. And the reason why I want to apologize is because I wanted to pull you in front of the Ateneo Gallery for them to acknowledge you. But hindi naman ako kasi part ng team. I'm not part of that circle. So I thought it might have been inappropriate, but I regretted it immediately for not doing it. And it still bugs me to this day for not doing that, because for what it's worth, I thought that you did a good job. You might have fallen short, but ganun talaga eh. We can't win all the time. So I just wanted to apologize for that. I regret it. No? I really do regret it. For not breaking out of the gallery. So, but nevertheless, thank you pa rin for those 3 years. Kahit tapos tayo, ganun talaga ang buhay. And we can't win all the time. But the important thing is we give it our best. Okay, Coach. Ito, for the two of you, Coach Ricky and Coach Bo, what is the most memorable game you've played in? Kung saan kayo naglaro at saan kayo nag-coach? So, Coach Ricky, we'll start with you.
Played in?
Played and coached.
Rick? Coach, masyado marami. Played in na lang.
Played muna. Sige.
Yeah. We were up against UST. If we beat them, we'd get a shot at a playoff for the final slot. UST had Pido Horencio. We were up 2. Pido heaves it from the opposite free throw line, and he makes it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was really memorable. And they made the finals, I think, that year.
1985.
85.
5.
Ando pa ba si Pido 85?
Oo, yun yung shootout nila ni Alan.
Oo, yung may 3-on-3 pa yata na tournament noon. I forget.
Meron.
But we lost that, but that was really memorable for me.
Subukan naman natin yung
In a
coaching.
bad way, of course.
Coach Ricky, sabi mo
Marami.
marami yung coaching. Pero subukan natin, ano yung memorable games kung saan ka nag-coach?
Marami sa Bacolod, marami sa Metro Stars, marami na nag-coach ako sa UP. Siguro para
Kung may ikikwento ka,
so
coach,
that it is a
kung may ikikwento ka sa mga apo mo, sa mga kaibigan mo, anong game yon, coach?
that would have to be the Atinto ni Paul, because that's iconic already. That's never going to be forgotten by not just the UP community, but the basketball community as well, because he called it. Right there, he called it, and he made that.
Coach, curiously, Coach Adrian Carbonilla, was that a drawn out of the moment play, or you used that before? Sorry, I cut you off.
Magandang tanong yan.
Yeah. That time I was offensive coordinator. I remember we did not practice that the day before, the game, but I remember working on that during special situations. So it was very easy to come up with it with the boys because they were more or less familiar with it already.
Coach Bo?
Thank you.
Memorable
No,
game?
I did not. We did not practice that the day before.
Coach Bo, the memorable game you played in and coached so far?
Ang pinaka-memorable na game I coached for me was I could still remember it was I think it was 1999. I was coaching, giving me the heart for basketball. No? Siya yung pinaka-influential person sa akin. And then we went home. I was coaching Surigao. We went home and played against Soxergen Marlins. You know, at that time. Then we won that game, and then I remembered really crying hard because I remembered my dad. You know, I remembered that I was hoping that he could have seen that na nag-coach ako doon in a professional level na nanalo. And that was my first win doon sa NBA na yon. No? So yun ang pinaka memorable sa akin kasi I would have wanted my dad to see that.
Memorable game kung saan kayo naglaro para sa UP, coach?
Memorable game, wala nga akong maalala masyado. I maalala ko lang yung sama ng loob ko when I played, I think that was my last as a UAP player sa Blue Eagles gym pa, no? And that was against NU.
Oh. Ano nangyari ko?
Ano? And naman yung yung dapat counted na siya as panalo, 'di ba?
Oh.
And that was my last game. Natalo pa kami. It was really heartbreaking for me. That was my last game as a UP player, and we lost against the supposedly team that we should have beaten.
Nasa NU. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Hindi ko na maalala.
Nako, naalala mo pa ba yung naging referee na si Ferrer? Ferrer, I forgot, referee ng PBA yon eh. So wala silang naging wala silang naging pro player. Pro referee meron.
May katanungan pa about when you scout Coach Ricky, Coach Bo, from Roel Pascual. Pag nag-scout, recruit kayo ng player, anong binibigyan yung importansya? Basketball IQ, skills, or character? Thank you daw, sabi ni Roel.
Coach Ricky?
I always say that recruitment is hit or miss. When you want to vet the recruit, You try to find out what kind of character he has. If he's a character guy, you try to talk to his coach,
Mhm.
his high school coach, or kanino man siya dumaan, ano. But you see, I've never believed in building character, because character is exposed. Once ma-expose yan, doon mo lang malalaman eh. Then of course, the more obvious ones are of course the talent. That's very easy to see. Um, from my perspective, shifting to the defensive side of it, I make sure to tell Coach Bo, siguraduhin mong didepensa yan. Pag hindi didepensa yan, masakit sa ulo yan. So those are one of the things that I look at.
Coach Bo, you're building a very good team right now in UP. You have Joel Cagulangan, you have Malik. Do you feel that pressure, Coach, that there's a sense of urgency to win it sooner than later, considering there are not enough playing years left for Richie Rivero, even the Gomez to Daniel brothers, or even with Kobe? Do you feel that pressure, Coach?
Oo naman, no? And the pressure does not really come from people around me or anybody else. No, it comes from myself. My desire to really give another championship to our alma mater, to our community. Um, that's our desire, no? And I the reason why we're trying to do all this stuff, trying to build our team, is to be in that situation wherein we can vie for that championship eventually. Wala na kami doon. Alam mo naman yan, Rick, wala na kami doon sa laban lang tayo. Oo, kung manalo o matalo, basta lumaban tayo. Wala na sa level na 'yon. Wala na rin sa level na uh, pumasok lang tayo sa Final Four, ayos na. No, we need to go into the Final Four to go into the next level, but our ambition hindi na nag-iba, no. It has to be the
May
championship.
magandang katanungan dito. Coaches, sino yung mga natural leaders sa UP team ninyo? At sino yung mga glue guys, yung mga glue players?
I'd like to think that
Coach Ricky,
Kobe
ikaw
is a
muna.
natural leader for us.
Si-
I'd like to think that Kobe is a natural leader.
Uh-huh.
Same with Bright. But if you're looking for, if in our numerous discussions, if there's going to be a glue guy for UP, it has to be Bright. It should be Bright.
Coach, do you agree? Coach Bo, do you agree? Coach Bo,
Yeah, pakiulit, Rick, na wala ako eh.
do you agree that sino yung sabi ni Coach Ricky ang natural leader si Kobe Paras and then or even Bright, but the guy who keeps the team together, your glue guy, is Bright Akueti? Do you agree, or do you think that there are other natural leaders on the team?
I'd like to say I'd like to make special mention of Noah Webb also. No, he's done a great job talking to his teammates. Just natural na good guy, natural na good guy na sinasabi natin. But alam naman natin na pagdating na sa dikdikan, may tinitingnan talaga ang players kung sino nandun sa loob, who gets the ball, sino yung may kumbaga ba, sino talaga ang dapat nilang sinusunod.
We have a question here, Coach Bo, Coach Ricky. How do you handle egos of your players on the team, especially since you have multiple star players? Thank you. Yun yung katanungan. That's actually a very good question.
Alam mo, before, sinasabi ko na madali lang yan, when you have egos, marami akong experience yan, sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, no. But itong past seasons, na-realize ko na hindi pala ganun kadali din. You really have to go out of your way to be creative, to try to understand, to give some leeways, to make other understand na bakit ginagawa ninyo itong mga bagay na to. So it's not easy. It's okay to handle one or two natural alpha males, yung sinasabi ko. But when you have three or four na very dominant players, medyo mahirap talaga.
Coach, natanong natin to earlier pero I need you to expound. No? Itong preseason, very crucial to. Because of the global pandemic, I don't think, is travel still in the cards for the Fighting Maroons or mas importante yung mga paglalaro sa mga Phil Oil Flying V preseason cup? Kasi hindi ko alam kung
Coach Ricky, if you're able to
Coach Ricky, your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't think that's
Go
going
ahead.
to even be allowed, even if we wanted to, because anytime we can confirm things in Auckland, but I don't think it's going to be allowed. Second is the schedule of school. In my mind, it really does not make any sense to me that if there is no vaccine, why should there be school? It's like allowing your child to walk over a landmine. So even if we want to plan for that, it's really up in the air and really not a priority.
Have the two of you, Coach Bo, Coach Ricky, been watching The Last Dance? Have you been watching it, Coach?
Yes.
Ano yung mga takeaway ninyo dun sa Last Dance, Coach Ricky and Coach Bo? We'll start with you, Coach Bo.
Ano ba? Well, una, that if you have a dominant player, not in the level of Michael Jordan, kasi medyo vague yung nagiging role ni Phil Jackson dun sa Last Dance, no? Parang nasa sideline lang siya. But you can sense that he gives much freedom kay Michael Jordan, no? And at the same time, if he katulad nung last kahapon lang ata yun, yung sinuntok niya si Steve Kerr, he makes sure that Michael Jordan understands na mali yung ginawa mo, so parang minsan nakikita ko rin yung the way I handle people like that, no? Nakikita ko na if you have a talent in your hands, minsan kailangan mabigyan mo siya ng freedom to express themselves.
Coach Ricky, your thoughts on The Last Dance?
Si Phil Jackson, malakas mang cooking. No, actually, I remember he knocked heads with a lot of times with Pat Riley, and in an article I read in the past, he alluded to that. So, inulit ko lang, nakatutok ako doon kay Michael Jordan. I'm not focused on Phil Jackson there.
Okay. There's a question here from Thad Delgado. Coach Bo, Coach Ricky, what is your take on Kai Soto skipping college basketball? Coach Ricky?
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. Back in 95, when I was coaching LaSalle Bacolod, I got an opportunity to go to the States for 2 months to college, or is he going straight to the pros? And he tells me, Rick, for 60 million, forget education first. So I said that. I said that not because Kai made that decision na parang ganon kay Kobe Bryant, of course. Nilalagyan ko lang ng konting context. But I'm sure that was a difficult decision to make for Irvin, the father. But he seems to be doing well. From the outside looking in, we're far away, but we have no sense of what is really happening to him. But I hope he really makes it. That's my fervent wish for him.
Coach Bo, your take on this, Kai Soto skipping college and college basketball?
Yeah, I agree with Coach Ricky. If you have a God-given talent like what Kai has, his height, his ability, his skill right now, and the opportunity, I think it's a one in a lifetime for the Filipinos to have an opportunity to have a Filipino in the NBA. So is really fighting for each one of us. Education is very relative. He can pursue that, or he is already doing that. But what he has right now is a one in a million chance, and I agree with him.
Okay, Coach Bo, may tanong dito. Coach Ricky, para sa inyong dalawa, what is the toughest college team that you have to prepare a game plan for?
Ateneo.
Bakit, Coach?
You not only plan for what they're going to do, you need to plan for their discipline and how you're able to throw a monkey wrench inside that well-oiled machine of theirs. It's easy to say, oh, we can blow this up, we can blow that up. But the thing is, with Ateneo, they'll do it again and they'll do it better. So that's a challenge for all of the coaches here. They've been dominating the game for 2 years already. Ilan straight games na yan, Rick? 24?
Something like that. Something like that, Coach.
Yeah.
So same follow up on YouTube. So is Tab Baldwin the toughest coach that you guys have faced, or for Coach Bo, sino pang coach that you've faced na for you are toughest?
For me, yes, I agree. Coach Tab is one of the toughest coaches that you're going to face up against, especially if he had the time in honing his team, trying to make them understand his philosophy, which he has right now with his Ateneo team. Tama si Coach Ricky. Minsan pag nakakita ka ng isang play sa ibang teams, ito lang gagawin natin, this is the defensive scheme that we're going to do. But with Ateneo, if you're going to do that, they have the next plan, the third one, and they have the fourth one. So and if you're able to do that, you just really have to be as disciplined as they are, or more disciplined than they are, and you got to have more probably more talents that they also have. Ang maalala ko lang rin sa PBA na tough ko na nakakalaban si Coach Yeng. Si Coach Yeng kasi during that time he had this powerhouse Red Bull also, napakalakas ng Red Bull team niya. But one thing with Coach Yeng is that alam mo na hindi magpapatalo yung team niya eh. Mas siguradong mas takot sila kay Coach Yeng kaysa sa iyo o kaysa sa team mo, alam mo na they're going to hear a lot of things, they're going to experience a lot of things when they're going to lose against you. So siguro sa dami ng games ko against Coach Yeng, siguro well, we had that series against ano ba yun? Series against them, but ang hirap, mabibilang mo lang yung panalo ko against them.
Coach Ricky, were you teammates with Coach Yeng?
I remember his last playing year was the year that I was in residence because I was a transferee from San Beda. But I was always with the regular team, so back then magkakilala na kami.
Intense mo siya as a player, Coach?
Again, Rick?
Was he intense as a player, the way he is as a coach right now?
He was a point guard. He was tough. I never, at least at that time, I never seen anyone blow by him. Then he had this decent jump shot from afar, and he was very smart.
Okay, we'll take two more questions before we wrap up our webinar with the UP coaches. What, Coach Bo and Coach Ricky, ano yung differences in handling pro and collegiate basketball players?
With college players kasi, before when I came from the pros going into college, akala ko pareho lang, no. But you really have to parang utang mo sa kanila to give them the opportunity to grow as a player, no. Pag nasa pro ka, wala masyado akong obligation sa you to make you a better player. Trabaho mo na yan, no. Sa college teams, it is your obligation to give them the best opportunity to become the best player that they can be. No, meaning that you have to teach them hindi lang yung technical aspect of the game, but also the ins and outs of after playing basketball, or life in as a whole. Yun ang nakikita kong malaking diferensya.
Coach Ricky, since you were also head coach in the pro.
Yeah. Overall, based on the pros that I've coached in the past, the pros have a quicker and better way, or a quicker way of understanding concepts. Of course, not all, but majority of the pros have understand concepts right away. Compared to college kids, a lot of times you really have to choose what you say, because sometimes what sounds simple to you sounds complicated to them already. And I attribute that the assimilation of concepts for the pros, I attribute that to the fact that they have played more and they have coached. They have been coached a lot. So it is automatic to them that they will be more familiar and understand the concepts in a better way.
Before we hear the last question, which is obviously about the UP Fighting Maroons, I'm going to put the two of you gentlemen on the spot. Coach Bo, Coach Ricky, sino yung best 5 players na na-coach ninyo sa pros and sa college? Yan. Magandang tanong dyan. Coach Bo, simulan natin sa inyo. Best 5 college and pro. So you're giving me 2 starting 5s, kumbaga. Sorry, coaches, ha?
Tatanong?
Oo nga eh. Bigs. Ako sa pro, would be yung backcourt ko with the power. That's JV Casio, Marshall Lassiter, and Gary David. No, my power forward would be Rani Del, from Air 21, and hindi ko alam if I was fortunate enough to coach a big man, pero
Sean Anthony.
Not so big.
huh? Is it siya? Not so big. Sa big, I'd say, yeah, kung nandun na si Ranedel, Sean would be, pinaalala mo na sa akin si Sean. Sean would be part of that as well.
Sa college 5 nyo, sino yan? That's UP and Ateneo. Nako,
Okay.
Mahirap yan.
hirap yan.
Buti na una ka.
Oo, ang dami. Ang dami niyan. Oo. Nako. Siguro ang magiging basis ko lang yung nagkaroon ng success siguro diyan na nasa pro na, no. Okay. I'd say Kiefer and Kobe, with Paul. Okay.
Ito na.
And probably sino pa ba, kasi nandiyan na sila eh.
You had Chris Newsom.
I'd say Chris Newsom. Okay, and for character and grit, I'd place there Andrew Harris.
Yan. Russell. Okay, Coach Ricky, it's your turn. Sino 5 din nyo sa
Ano ba
pro?
kailangan? Ateneo tsaka UP o combined?
Ikaw ang bahala dyan, Coach. Kung sino yung na-coach mo.
Sige, so sa UP, that would have to be Jun Manso, Juan, Paul, Kobe, and Bright.
Yan.
Sa Ateneo, it would be LA, Kiefer,
Mhm.
Chris Newsom,
Yan.
Rich Alvarez, and Enrico Villanueva.
Ayop. O sa pros?
Sa PBA, it would, yung mga na-coachan ko lang
Yeah.
it would be Rashawn McCarthy, Gary David, Marshall Lassiter, Mark Pingris, and Ronnie Del De Ocampo.
Naku, ganda ng lineup doon. Okay,
NBA, meron pa, NBA.
NBA.
Baka magtampo.
Ha?
Walang
Baka
link.
magtampo ang NBA mo.
Pati kayo, Coach
Ay,
Mo.
yung mga kumpare ko. Si Alex Compton.
Yan.
Pero kailangan dumipensa siya.
Tama.
Yung starting five ko sa NBA, sa Metro Stars, yun na yun.
Para sa ating mga nakikinig, Coach Ricky, sino yung starting 5 din nyo?
Sino nga ba yun? I think it was Chito, Alex, Nestor Rechano, Pedro, and Romel. I think.
Yan. O Coach Mo, kayo sa NBA.
NBA, Chris Clay. Si Chris Clay. Coach natin si Chris Clay. And then my point guard would be wala ko masyado nakuha na It would probably be sino ba? Si Dongking Sasuman.
Oh,
Dongking Sasuman. And then ang shooter ko si sino ba si Simon?
B-boy.
I forgot the first name.
B-boy.
yan.
B-boy Simon.
B-boy Simon, yeah. And then one of the point guards probably would be Billy Reyes.
Okay. May isa pa yata kulang. Coach, one more player.
Flowers.
Okay.
Jeffrey Flowers.
Yeah, Jeffrey Flowers.
Jeffrey Flowers.
The last question for the two of you coaches. Tanong ni Christian, what can we expect from the UP Fighting Maroons the next UAAP season? Yeah.
All yours, Coach Bo.
Yan na, Coach Bo, kayo na.
Expectation for next season?
Yep. What can UP fans expect from the Fighting Maroons next etong season 83?
Well, everything that we're going to do, these are all geared towards our quest for the championship. Walang iba. Whether we're going to be successful or not, but everything that we're going to be are going to be geared towards that goal. We're going to fight for that. I think we have what it takes to do that. But saying that, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but all our hearts and our minds are going for that.
Coach Ariel, kayo po.
Yes. Again, we'd like to thank you, coaches, for spending your time with us. And, I'm sure our attendees and those that watch on YouTube learned a lot from your coaching journey, from the pros to college and to semi-pro. So, marami silang napulot na nuggets. And I'm sure that they can apply to their respective teams. And I'd like to thank you for your efforts and this time. And Rick, you can some
Coach,
parting words.
Coach Ricky, Coach Bo, parting words.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Rick, Ariel, and Joey for having us here. Maraming salamat. You guys are doing a great job with this webinar. I myself, since March, I have been devoting almost half a day in the mornings following the webinars of NABC Coaching Summit, and Coaching Summit has Basketball Embassy opened their webinar again a couple of days ago, as well as your webinar, Coach Ariel. You guys are doing a great job, and be safe.
Coach Bo?
Yeah, I'd like to take it from Coach Ricky also, no, and to say that I really believe that more coaches, a lot of coaches had learned from what you are doing in this kinds of times, no, then siguro ito na yung pinaka blessing nila kung sa nangyaring ganito, because I don't think that they're going to have the opportunity to learn and from what you are doing, no? So thank you, Rick, Joey, and Coach Ariel.
Coach Ariel?
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. The pleasure is ours. And again, our next webinar will be at 6 p.m. with Coach Mark Dickel. I hope you coaches can join us again. So it's a quick dinner or quick merienda / dinner for everyone. And Rick again will join us at 6 p.m.
6 o'clock. All right, Coach Ricky, Coach Bo,
Thank you.
Stay safe.
And
See you soon. Boss
thank
Joey.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good
Boss
night.
Joey, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.